So I know this might come as a shock to a lot of you, but I, just a robot, used to be a groomer. Of course, eventually I stopped because I just couldn't handle keeping the kids in the seats and watching them cry so much. But how did I become a groomer in the first place? Well, just like most groomers, it started when I was groomed myself. When I was just a mere child being groomed for the first time, my eyes were just full of tears. I couldn't really handle the traumatic experience all too well. But as I got older and could look back on my experience as a child, I realized someone had to do it. And I also thought, hey, there's probably a lot of money in grooming. So of course, I took a few classes in grooming, but I didn't want to just be any groomer. I wanted to be the best groomer. The groomer who would go down in history. At first I was grooming animals, but eventually I moved on to grooming humans, and they progressively got younger. I was a madman when it came to grooming. I groomed adults, young adults, teens, preteens, but then I knew the biggest challenge was grooming kids. And yes, I understand that preteens are kids, but when I say kids, I mean little kids, like the ones who only have a single digit in their age. The type who will cry, bite, and squirm as you try to groom them. I decided I didn't want to just work for any grooming company. I wanted to be a self-made groomer, run my own grooming business. Luckily, I was able to buy a windowless van for the cheap, and I put a slogan on it: the younger, the better.
I like this. This is cute. I want this inside of me.
At first, I was having a lot of difficulty finding any customers, but luckily one of my friends gave me some very good advice. The best place for grooming kids was on Discord, so I knew that was the best way I could get the name of my business out there. And the advice I was given really worked out. Before I knew it, kids from all over the globe joined my Discord, all being desperate to get groomed. Unfortunately, they were from all over the world, and my van takes up a lot of gas, so I wasn't really willing to travel too far to groom a child. But luckily, there was a child who lived pretty close to me, who said they were willing to get groomed. I told them, they got me really excited, and I was going to head over there as soon as I could. It took me a while to find the address. Keep in mind, this was back in the day before GPS. Eventually, I found the house and went up to the door and rang the doorbell. The child greeted me, saying that their parents were out for the night. I showed them my bag and told them I had all my tools ready, and I was very excited to do this. They told me to wait for them in the kitchen, which I thought was pretty smart of the young little kid. After all, grooming does make a huge mess, and it's a lot easier to clean a kitchen floor than, carpet or something. But to my surprise, some other guy came into the kitchen. Maybe they were the kid's uncle or babysitter or something. They went by Chris Hansen or some other name like that. They asked me to take a seat, and I told them that's not how this works. They have to take a seat. If I take a seat, I can't groom to my fullest potential. They kept on demanding that I take a seat over and over again. Eventually, I finally asked him, "Do you want me to groom the child or not?" He screamed no at me, to which I said, "All right, good day, sir. Thanks for wasting my time and gas." The nerve of some people, am I right? I just realized this story makes no sense because somehow Chris Hansen's show is still a thing. GPS isn't a thing, but yet I still somehow can use Discord. But eventually, I got my first customer. A mother desperately wanted her child to be groomed. Many people before me have tried to groom this kid. Some of them were even the best groomers in the state. So I knew this was my time to shine. I told the kid's mother that no matter what happens, I will do everything in my power to groom their child. I held the kid down and started working my magic. Every time they tried to bite me, I would push them down further on my stool. I was starting to get hot, sweaty, and exhausted, but I knew I could outlast this kid. I told the kid that I was going to do this until completion, but if they were good from here on out, I would give them some candy at the end. And surprisingly, that worked. I gave the kid a lollipop to suck on while I finished up the grooming. From that day onward, I decided to add another slogan to my van, and that slogan was, free candy. My business started booming after that. I was grooming kids left and right. Eventually, even the newspaper started talking about me. But unfortunately, my business didn't take off as much as I thought it would. And there are better child groomers out there than, well, me. So eventually I shut down my business and sold my van to some guy, I think his name was EDP or something like that. But that's not the only thing that made me stop being a child groomer. Having to deal with all the upset parents after their children start crying really weighs on your mental health after a while. So would I recommend becoming a child groomer? Well, if you have the stomach for it, certainly. And after all, someone gotta groom those kids. After all, we don't want the world to be full of children who have long, messy hair, now do we?
You just got pranked.
I wonder how many people are going to take this video out of context. This is going to get demonetized for sure.